Hello and welcome to another Spirit Island video. Today I am going to be fighting the Habsburg mining expedition again, this time at difficulty or level 6, which is a difficulty 10 game. What the level 6 adds is now that when the HME explores in lands with 3 or more blight, or fewer blight, we add 1 more explorer into each land that was successfully explored. So this is going to start putting pressure into our additional loss condition and making it harder to clean up these lands. For this game, I've chosen to use Volcano and Wildfire, 2 of my favorite spirits, and let's begin. All right, so with Volcano, I think I want to add my presence to the land with the most adjacencies. This is adjacent, my E5 is adjacent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different lands with all of the different land types. So this will help with whatever they explore to neutralize a ravage. And then let's push this to Han. Let's see, let's push it to land 1 just to create a little group of them. And they start by exploring in the jungle. So at the start here, my land 4 is going to be a mining land, so they're just going to immediately ravage if I don't do anything about it. If I grow into there, then they will just build instead, but then I am stuck with the presence there in their ravage. Over here, we have a mining land in land 7, which is going to be blocked by the disease at the very least. And then we have a building land in 3. So let's see what I can do with that. So So on Wildfire, I could at least use my G3 to grow into C1, picking off 1 explorer. And then asphyxiating smoke to pick off the town that they build, so then they're no longer a threat in the ravage. I could also actually just asphyxiating smoke and pick off the town and then pick off that explorer at the start of my next turn as well. So maybe let's stop them from double ravaging and starting to double up on blight over here. Another thing I could do actually is grow into my C5, push 2 Dahan out, and trade where they kill 1 Dahan, then the remaining Dahan kills 2 explorers, and then that makes it so that in their next ravage they're just fully cleared. So they will blight, but then they won't blight again. And I think I don't mind taking that trade right now. Before we commit, let's see what Volcano can do to solve their stuff. So over here, I'm just gonna let them ravage and then ravage again and do that blight. That's gonna be a good land to explode into later or erupt into. I want to hold my pyroclastic bombardment, and I can actually solve my land 3 by just using a Rain of Ash in the slow phase this turn, because that would push 2 explorers or towns out. So I can just push the explorer and town into my volcano land, so that when I erupt, it has more of an effect. Now to play the Rain of Ash, I need the energy, so I can get that by either growing off of top track right now, or by gaining a power card, adding a presence, and getting 1 more card play. I think I want to see. If I got 1 more card play, what would I do? I would probably either play the new power card I got, or just play the Rain of Ash and something like Lava Flows into there. And I don't actually mind that at all. So let's gain a power card. Let's gain a miner for now. And some defense is very nice, especially since I do already have 2 cards with that air element. Obviously, the Rain of Ash is going to be gone this turn after I play it. Absorb Corruption lets me potentially remove Blight if I have the energy for it, and it has my mountain element, or my earth element. Song of Sanctity lets me target a mountain or jungle, push all explorers out, or remove a Blight. I don't have any Blight in mountains or jungles right now, but I will have a Blight in my 7 at the end of turn 2. However, this has none of my elements, so that's another consideration to be made. And then Sunset's Fire does not do much. However, with my throwing Badlands around, it might do a little bit more. It doesn't have my earth element, but it does have my fire element, and it is a 4 element card in case I get a major or anything like that. However, I think I do prefer the sap strength here just for the defense later on. I could even use this potentially over here or something right now to stop that ravage. So let's grab sap strength. Let's add a presence, and let's go off of my top track. And I can actually, if I go off of my top track right now, I get 2 energy. I can put it here, and then I can use my sap strength and land 4 just to fully clear it. Because I don't see a use for sap strength next turn, and I am gonna have that air element right now. And I'm not doing an eruption either this turn. So let's do that. That has the threshold. Perfect. And then we can, on Wildfire, we'll grow into here and push those Dahan out so that they can counterattack. And we can, let's see, what card would we want to play with that? I could do Flash Fires. So I don't have any real use for my left innate right now, nor do I have the capability to use my right innate. So I think right now is as good a time as any to actually just use my gain a power card and play whatever I get out of that. And with Carapace Land, I actually don't need to play the sap strength anymore. So let's play that Lava Flows instead. And Carapace Land has that plant element that I need for my left innate to pop off, and I can get more defense with an extra earth element later. I think that looks great. So let's do that and add a presence, and let's go off of bottom track. And now with this, since I have a range 3, I can actually either choose to push out of here or here. I think it might be better for me to go over here for now, just to get more options later when I want to add presence at range 1. And then I'm just going to play my Carapace Land, and because this land has beasts, I get that extra 1 range onto it. Perfect. So we'll just defend here. Then they ravage, they fully clear in the ravage, and then I can, and then that land is solved for me. And then I can work on figuring out this land or just letting it blight. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm not going to do an eruption this turn because I want to build a stack here, but I put this here just so I could flex into other options if I need. So let's... Okay. And now I need to choose a land to build and upgrade in. So let's let them build and upgrade. Okay, so if they build an upgrade over here, they're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buildings. And then they'll have a blight there and the next ravage as well. Now I am gonna be erupting into their next turn at the very least. So that's gonna be one less thing to deal with. I think because I'm going to be putting a Badlands there anyways, let's let them do that build and upgrade. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They'll have a 7th thing in there when they get a blight in there. So, but then I'll be able to clear it before the lost condition triggers. And then for these ones, let's build and upgrade. Over here. Okay, so we have a wetlands explorer. So first, let's do our lava flows. Get Badlands and Wilds in there. And then we'll do a Rain of Ash. So that pushes 2 Dahan and 2 explorers or towns into, let's see, lands without my presence. So let's push these Dahan here. That way I can defend and let them die in the counterattack. And then let's push these ones over here. Okay. Now, Wildfire. I can either grow into here with 2 fire and kill both explorers, or I can just grow into there with my 1 fire and get to 2 card plays, kill 1 explorer, kill the other one with my left innate, and that would do perfectly fine. So let's go that way. So we'll grow that. And then we can actually just push these 2 here. Let's see. If I do that, 2 Dahan do die in the Ravage unless I get defense out of the event or a fear card. So is there actually a good reason to do that right now? I would prefer to preserve my Dahan when I can, so let's actually still grow here, kill an explorer, push the Dahan this way, and then now I get 1 energy out of this. I would like to just defend that, but yeah, a Dahan is dying regardless. So I think I do want to actually push a Dahan into here, push both Dahan into here, just because then there's a higher chance of getting that defense from events that do 2 Dahan defense or any fear cards that do that. And then let's see. So this one is not building. This one is ravaging. I can prevent, or I can't prevent that ravage actually. Now I could, instead of killing this in the with my left innate, I could do a threatening flames to push it into a different land, make a problem land that I can start working towards. However, with this adversary, I don't think that's the best idea. I don't want to do Flames Fury necessarily. So let's just do Asphyxiating Smoke to just kill a town with, and then I have that one plant element to kill the Explorer in my land 5 with. Now, for Volcano, I think I'd like to begin just building towards a big stack to do my first eruption into. So let's just build off of here, get more energy. And now, actually, I think this Pyroclastic Bombardment would go very well into my land 7 right now, just to... Or actually, it might be better to do it next turn still, because they're going to upgrade an Explorer after they Ravage. At least I believe that's how it works. Let's see. How much fire do I have right now? So Exaltation doesn't really do anything for me. Let's see, does Bombardment actually do anything? Not really. No. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, so I can't reach my land 1 with it. So actually, I think it is actually still better for me to gain a power card. Hazard Spread. That lets me get more Badlands all around. This is a great card for me. It's perfectly on all of my elements. And yeah, that's great. Gold Allure is also on 2 of my elements at least, and lets me move things around. But I think Hazard Spread is great for what I'm wanting to do, which is just tons of damage and these built up problem lands. And I can, another benefit of that is I can play it this turn to actually get my Pyroclastic Bombardment doing even better if I want to. Now, let's continue to grow off of the top track for now, and then we'll go Hazard Spread and Bombardment. And then I might actually just be able to prevent their Ravage. How much would that do? So if I did Hazard Spread over here, and I gain a Badlands, then Bombardment would do 1 damage to each town and city. So each town would be at 1 HP. The city would be at 2, and then I do 1 additional damage. That would also go, that would probably go into the city or something like that. But then the 2 Badlands would make it do 2 additional damage. Does that help? Not really. Hazard Spread and Exaltation now lets me actually give some energy more, so give more energy to Wildfire. Also gives Wildfire some extra range if they want it. That would actually let me pick off the Explorer here instead. That's an interesting combo actually. So if I did Asphyxiating Smoke, Flames Fury, then I can still kill the town that shows up here. And I can do extra, how much damage would that do? 2 damage over there in the fast, which is not really enough. But I think that actually might still be good. If I use Flame's Fury on Volcano, Pyroclastic Bombardment might actually just clear this whole land as well. So let's do Bombardment with that still, and then we can Flame's Fury him to clear that land. So first, let's Firestorm here. We can Flame's Fury Volcano, Hazard Spread, get a Badlands. We can do a Bombardment. And then 1, 2, 3. 1. Okay. Now, if I were to erupt for 2 right now, I could actually just completely wipe that land out. See, is there a better way to do my bombardment right now? What if I did my bombardment like this, and then 1, 2, 3, and then just a damage to an explorer. They're still ravaging, they're still blighting. I think this turn just doesn't seem like the one to use my bombardment in. Because I could just as well use it over here after they build. However, if I put a Badlands there, these Dahan are gonna die as well. I don't want to erupt out of there. I don't want to erupt out of here either. Though if I do erupt out of here, I actually do just get to add that presence over here instead. But that would only do 1 damage to this land, which is just picking off an explorer. But then I get to add that presence back into my main stack over here. I think that actually might make the most use out of things right now. So let's erupt over here. Just pick off. Oh wait, that's right. I get to do 2 damage. When your presence is destroyed in that land, deal 1 damage per destroyed presence to both invaders and Dahan. So I only did do 1 damage. So what is happening there? I don't have a Badlands there. Why is it letting me do 2 damage? Oh, Flame's Fury. That's right. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, that is a good eruption then. Discard the top minor power if it's fast out of blight, or I can forget moon cards to add a beast. I only have 1 moon card here, I believe. Yeah, I don't want to use that. So I think I kind of need to let the invasive species bloom and then potentially find some more moon cards to forget when this comes up in 2 turns. is there a place I'd like to add a blight to with towns and cities? I could add it to land 2 here. Yeah, I think it's fine. Let species bloom. Let's do this board. That one's slow. That one's fast. Okay, so let's add a blight. Let's see. Let's add a blight to my land 7 and plan to grow there next turn, because then I have another spot for my presence to go conveniently. Add a disease to a land with both Dahan and invaders. Okay, so on here I can prevent a build there, or I can prevent a ravage here. Let's block this ravage. Each spirit with at least 2 Dahan among all its lands gains 2 energy. None of those happen. Okay. Counterattack. All right, let's build and upgrade. Let's continue to use this land as kind of a build and upgrade dump land. And then for this one, let's build an upgrade over here. And we have Mountains Explore. So let's do an asphyxiating smoke and put it over here. Perfect. Push that Dahan into the sands. And then we will just add my destroyed presence back. Okay. Now, Wildfire is going to get up to 3 card plays. Or I can get up to 2 fire and deal 2 damage on my growth. As for Volcano, I can get up now to a bunch of presence. And because of my extra range from a sacred site, I can actually use Sap the Strength in my land 4. I can also gain a power. Let's actually gain a major, see what I can get out of that. Transform into a murderous darkness. I can make a bunch of badlands this way. I also have decent elements, or I almost have all the elements to threshold this. However, I don't have the moon I need. Poisoned land lets me deal 7 damage to a land, but it adds a blight, which would cascade here or here. I could use it in my land 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're close to a lost condition. There are also no Dahan there to destroy, so that lets me delay that a little bit. Do I have any sun cards? I don't. I think Poisoned Land seems pretty good here. It has my earth element at least. This has my fire element. I do have more earth than fire right now, but on my growth I could grow out of here. I would prefer to grow into 3 energy though. see. So if I were to transform into a murderous darkness, I could use that on Wildfire to create a bunch of badlands, actually. Just bring them out of my land 6. And then that way I can actually use my flash fires in to do more damage with it. Let's grab transform. And I can forget. I think honestly I want to just forget exaltation. It just is not that useful to me right now. However, if I do keep it, I can blow up my presence here and just stop their build, and then on the next turn, and then add it back in the slow phase. Or I can just wait to do that until next turn. I kind of want to do a sap strength this turn. Let's add a presence. And let's go off of my top track. And we'll do a transform into a murderous darkness. Oops, misclicked. Okay. Transform and sap strength. And now sap strength actually has the extra range. I could even target over here to clear that land, which is seeming a little more appealing to me right now. And then I need extra energy on my Wildfire. I'm going to be destroying all of my presence with transform into a murderous darkness. So let's actually just add a presence over here. And I can stop their ravage with my left innate. Okay. And now we can do... So we can either do a threatening flames here to generate some fear, or I can do... Let's do a firestorm first, and then threatening flames. And then let's defend 5 over there. And do I want to explode for 1? I don't think so, because next turn I'm going to be reclaiming. Okay. All right, explorers have more health. Let's generate fear or move. Beast can go there. Add Dahan to an inland land with Dahan. Let's put 1 over here because I still potentially can grow there. And let's put 1 over here so it can at least counterattack. They push an explorer into a land with more towns or cities than where it came from. Okay. Let's push 1 out of here so that land still fully clears when it ravages. And then let's also push this one here so it doesn't build. And then we'll ravage this land. Fully clears. Blight. Destroy a beast. And add a blight to a land with towns or cities. So let's destroy a beast on this board. And we add a blight here. And we'll add a blight here. And then we'll counterattack for 2. All right, we build and upgrade. Let's do that in here because I'll be erupting next turn. And then let's build and upgrade over here. and they explore sands. Okay, so now, right, we have to do 2 extra explores. Let's explore here and here, and then we'll explore into here and here. And then our flash fires, I can use that after I transform into a murderous darkness for more damage. So let's go ahead and use that. Okay, and we'll go ahead and push here, here, and here. And actually, let's push, if I push 2 of my Badlands in here, then that lets me actually just kill a city in that mountain with the flash fires. So let's do that. And now I have a pocket. Let's go ahead and gain 1 more minor power. Drift down helps me to defend that sand after they build. Or right now when they're ravaging, I can try to defend it. Roiling Bog, I don't have any sacred sites right now. I don't have any lands where Renewing Boon is applicable. But I do think the drift down is my best option. And then as for Volcano, let's reclaim. And I'm going to gain a major and forget transform into a murderous darkness. Rumbling Earthquakes is perfect. That's the ideal one. I'm not even bothering looking at the others. So now my goal is to get up to more card plays, so I can card plays and revealing this earth, so I can get my Rumbling Earthquakes thresholded. For now, let's play Pyroclastic Bombardment again to get my just to get some extra damage. And then for Wildfire, we can so I can actually stop the ravage there entirely, which would pocket these lands completely. Then that way they don't or these 2 lands at least don't explore during the salt deposits turn. If I just do flash fires and let's see, flash fires, drift down to defend there, and threatening flames. Though I would prefer to be able to get my right innate so I can start cleaning up blight. So let's, instead of drift down, get Flame's Fury. Oh wait, but then I still need the extra air element. So because if I don't have the air element, then I can't stop that ravage. So I need flash fires and Flame's Fury to be in play, and then drift down. Flame's Fury. Flash fires. Oh wait, they have the... I don't need the Flame's Fury because they have 2 Badlands there. So instead of Flame's Fury, let's do the Threatening Flames. Still need the drift down though. Then Threatening Flames here. Flash fires for 1 damage plus 2 from the Badlands, and then drift down over here just to stop 1 blight from happening. And then my Firestorm. Oh wait, nope. I want to Firestorm here. And then I actually don't have a land to use. Oh, I do have land to use Threatening Flames in. So let's do Firestorm, Threatening Flames, push you to here. Well, flash fires. And then we can drift down there. And then the Pyroclastic Bombardment. Let's see. So first we'll explode here, destroy 2 presents. And we can do 3 damage here. And then the bombardment takes care of the rest. Okay. 1 damage in a land with Badlands or Beasts. 1 damage to Dahan in a land with Badlands or Beasts and Dahan. Okay, so over here, let's do 2 damage. And then over here, let's also do 2 damage. Oh, actually, no, I can... So over here, let's do 3 damage. And then over here, we'll do 2 damage. Perfect. Alright, on each board with towns or cities and 5 or fewer Dahan, we destroy presents. There are 5 Dahan here. There are more than 5 Dahan here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there are exactly 5 actually. So over here, I do have to destroy a presence as well. So let's go ahead and destroy that one because it's not serving much of a purpose anymore. Each player may gather 1 explorer or town into a coastal land and defend 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh man, they're going to be threatening their lost condition next turn. Let's gather out of... Let's just gather an explorer out of land 2 to avoid that lost condition that's threatening. That's being threatened right now. And let's gather 1 more out of there. So then that's one less explore for the salt deposits as well. Add a stripe in a land with presence. Okay, no use for that. Gather up to 3 explorers or towns from a single land with 2 or more invaders. Okay. So let's... Why can't I gather... Oh, I see. Okay, so let's gather into... this one, and let's pull 1, 2, 3. And then on this board, let's gather out of this one, and let's pull 1, 2, let's see. This is a little risky. I think no, let's just pull 1 out of there so they also don't explore at least. Okay, and now let's upgrade an explorer to a town. And let's upgrade this one as well. And we will... That was a useless drift down. Okay. Okay, now let's go ahead and... I think I'm a little desperate for new power cards to actually be relevant to me right now. However, if I just add a presence and gain 2 energy and 1 more per fire showing, then I get to play out my whole hand like this. So I think I'm going to do that. And let's just stop a build from happening somewhere. So let's stop a build over here. And then we can push our Dahan one. No, I don't want to push them there. That's where Volcano's gonna be doing its thing. So let's just push them over to here. And then gain some energy. Carapace, Flame's Fury, Asphyxiating. Now, actually with this, I can do some crazy damage with my fire. So instead of growing here, we could maybe actually stop this ravage altogether. Let's see. So if I did 2 damage, and then cascade that over here, and then gain some energy. Carapace, Flame's Fury, Asphyxiating Smoke. Now, the Flame's Fury would get me 1 more damage, and then that gets me 5 total damage with my left innate, which does completely wipe out this land, and they don't build. And then I also get some blight cleanup. That sounds great. Now, Volcano, I think, wants nothing more than to get to that Rumbling Earthquake's threshold as soon as possible. And is there a way I can do that this turn? I have 1 earth in the bank right now. I think it needs just to add some presence right away. Let's get that fire and earth. And then next turn, we can actually just permanently get an extra card play. And then for right now, let's sap strength to defend here, and then that fully clears. And I think that seems pretty good. All right. Okay, I have no sacred sites to target with out of asphyxiating smoke, but I think I still just need the elements right now. So let's Flame's Fury, Firestorm. Perfect. There's also no real use for the Carapace land, but it's just nice to kill everything here. Let's do a Carapace here, sure. And then we'll sap. And do I want to erupt? Let's not, because next turn I can just kill the town that they build there anyways. So let's finish using powers, see what I get out of the event. And right, I forgot that I had put that in here. And now I have no moon cards to pay for this. Now I can actually block a Ravage by putting a disease there. That's nice. Okay, so I could have optimized this so much better, but let's okay, so this is guaranteed to cascade if it's fast, and that's guaranteed to double cascade. That's a big deal. This is also almost guaranteed to cascade, so we just kind of have to pay the energy, unfortunately, to transmute. Let's pay 4 out of here so I can still play my rumbling, and then let's pay pay 4 out of here, and then I'll just have to deal with being poor for a little bit. But I can add a beast, and then add these, and I guess it has to be with Dahan and invaders, so let's just block the build in my problem land. Build and upgrade. And let's do that here, since I can potentially do some bigger stuff in there now. And we can build and upgrade here. Okay. And now in my slow, all right, first they explore and everything again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just have them explore here and here. I think that's where I'm going to be erupting. And then let's explore here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's explore here. Or actually, no. Explore here and here. Explore here and here. Okay, and now let's do a burned land regrows, get a blight out of here. And then next turn I get to do my earthquakes. So let's go ahead and add presence, get up to 4 energy and 2 card plays. Rumbling Earthquakes and any other earth card would do the trick. So let's do Hazard Spread just to get more Badlands around. And that's thresholded. And I think this, now I just kind of want to start reclaim looping that Rumbling Earthquakes potentially. And then I also get to add back one of my destroyed presents. And then over here, let's gain another minor power. Blood Draws Predators is looking nice. Inflame looks good if I can get a Sacred Site. I can do a slow to fast. Or I can get some defense. All of these cost 1. So let's do Blood Draws Predators. And then we'll do a Threatening Flames, Flames Fury, and Drift Down. And then I can wipe this land out. I don't have any lost conditions being threatened right now, and the Drift Down would... Let's see, would the Drift Down prevent any ravages? It would prevent... no ravages. So let's instead do Blood Draws Predators. No, that doesn't get me my... I need either Drift Down or Carapace land. So let's do my Drift Down just even for 1 defense, potentially. Okay, so let's get... Okay. So they're going to be ravaging twice there. I need that to not happen if I can make it. Let's defend... So actually, I can do Drift Down here, Flames Fury, Threatening Flames there, and that way they can actually ravage there and then be wiped out, and then Firestorm does the rest in here. And then my hazard spread, I just need a good target for Rumbling Earthquakes. So let's... Or actually, let's just hazard spread there so I can erupt into there for more. I can turn that off, turn the mining land off there. So let's explode and destroy... Do I want to destroy 2? Let's see, if I destroy 2, that's 3 damage. I can turn off the mining land there. And then that would be 3 damage over here as well, which would not turn off the mining land there. Or 4 damage there actually does turn off the mining land. So, perfect. I believe that does the trick. Yeah, so let's destroy 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now I do need to guard them myself actually to make this work. So let's guard. And I already have the elements for it, so let's just deal 2 damage here. Perfect. Okay, we got some fear cards. Add a strife and a land with blight. Can I turn off any ravages this way? I can. Let's turn off this one. Add a strife and a land with with beasts, disease, or Dahan. Can I turn off another ravage here? I can't turn off a ravage here, unfortunately. So let's just find a good place to put the strife that would help in the future then. I think over here sounds best. Okay, so let's ravage in all of our salt deposits. Oh wait, actually, no, we want to ravage this salt deposit, and let's do... Ah, I see. 2 damage there. They are still gonna be doing their wetlands ravage in that. We ravage here, they upgrade. We ravage here, they upgrade. We ravage here and they upgrade. Or actually, they don't cascade. Okay. They all die. And unfortunately, I died to Blight. That was an unfortunate loss. If I could just have gotten that rumbling earthquakes off over here, then would have been in much better shape, but honestly, things were not looking good. But I will be trying this again on the next game. I'll decide later if I want to do the same matchup or a different one. So that's all. Thanks for watching.